Hello there! Today we'll be creating this Christmas pudding trinket dish. It's created with terracotta air dry clay and then painted with acrylic paints, and it was a lot of fun creating it. So let's see how it was made. To make our trinket dish we'll be using air dry clay, and this is the 2 kg block. This is more clay than is needed, but we'll use the rest of the clay for another project. We'll also need a base to model on. In this case, I'm using an easy clean palette. The first step is to cut the block in half and shape the clay into a ball. Obviously, Christmas puddings come in all sizes, so feel free to make your pudding any size you like. Now we have our ball shape, we create a flat sheet roughly 5mm thick and lay it over the ball, and then using a hobby knife we profile cut the sheet. This is going to suggest the glaze, so as we do this think about how the thick glaze would naturally cover and fall down the pudding. Once the shape is cut and the waste is removed, we rub a wet finger over the edge of the cut sheet to soften the corner. We can then use a wire clay cutter to carefully cut out the pudding in half. Once the pudding is cut, a loop tool is used to remove some of the clay from the inside. This can be done on each half. After the clay has been removed, the two sides can be put together. Some raisins can be suggested by pressing small balls onto the outside of the pudding and blending them in with a brush. We then create some holly leaves by rolling a sheet of clay really thin and cutting each leaf out with a hobby knife. Hobby leaves have a series of spiky points around each leaf, so make sure you put these in. Press these onto the top of the pudding and then refine the edges of the leaves. Stay inspired and don't miss a video from us. Subscribe and leave a comment below with what you'd like us to create next. We'd love to hear from you. To make the berries, create a tube and cut the tube into 4 equal amounts and roll these balls up in the palm of your hand and press them into position. Now we leave it overnight to harden to the leather stage. This way the dish will firm up enough that it will keep its form. So that it's been left overnight, and although it's dried to an extent, the clay still retains a little moisture. If this is the case, it can be speed dried with a hairdryer. Once it's bone dry, we can add the paint. So squeeze out some burnt sienna and some burnt umber onto a palette and apply these colours onto both sides of the trinket dish. Don't mix the colours on the palette, rather roughly mix them on the dish itself. To give it a bit of a warmish tone, and so it's not too brown, I glaze on a watered down layer of sienna. The glaze can be painted in with titanium white mixed with a touch of burnt umber, just to tint it slightly, and paint it into the appropriate area. The leaves can be painted with sap green and the berries can be painted with a couple of coats of brilliant red. Well, thanks for watching. If you like this project, we've got loads more on our website. Jump online to check out our Create blog and sign up with Creative Connection to get lessons, inspo, tips and more sent directly to your inbox. Staying inspired doesn't have to cost a cent.